guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Laura Lee Los Angeles Cat's Pajamas eyeshadow palette. This palette has been all over social media, which makes perfect sense because she is a YouTuber that recently launched a makeup brand. So everybody's been talking about it and wanting to get their hands on it and find out if it is the Cat's Pajamas, hence the name. So I was able to pick up a palette and I'm going to be sharing with you guys today my thoughts and opinions on the way that the palette performed and just how I liked it. I do have it on my eyes today, obviously, so I am going to be sharing a quick little mini tutorial with you guys, showing you how I created this look. This video is also going to be a collaboration with my friend Jasmine here on YouTube. I will have a link to her channel down below as well as to her video. She's also going to be reviewing the palette and sharing a little mini tutorial of a look that she created testing out the eyeshadows. And we also picked up an extra palette for our subscribers as well. So there will be a link down below in the description at the very top where you can enter our giveaway to win one of these palettes for yourself. All of the rules will be listed down below, so if you have any questions, feel free to check out the description box down below. So before we get started, if you are new to my channel, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications. It will add you to my fam here on YouTube and will also make sure that you never miss out on any of my future videos. And also, if you enjoy this video or find it helpful, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. So that is all that I have for you guys for this intro, so let's go ahead and jump into the review. Alrighty guys, so first things first, let's talk about the packaging. When I received my box, this is the box that it came in. Just a regular pink box, nothing super special about it, but cute that it was a pink box. And then when I took the palette out, this is what the packaging of the actual palette looks like. It has these beautiful pink flowers all over the front and back of the packaging. And then it has Laura Lee's logo here in like a mirrored silver little metallic, well not really metallic, but you guys see what it looks like. A little mirrored kind of impression here on the box. And then it says Laura Lee Los Angeles Cat's Pajamas eyeshadow palette. This palette was made here in the United States in Los Angeles, and it is also cruelty free. So when you take the palette out of the box, this is what the packaging of the actual palette looks like. This packaging is stunning, like the actual palette packaging is stunning. This is what the box and the palette look like right next to each other. But I am obsessed with the actual packaging of this palette. It's like a slick kind of like material, so it'll be really nice to keep clean. Kind of like laminated, I guess is the right word. It's like laminated over the top, so if you get it dirty, it'll be really easy to just wipe it clean. But I love how sparkly and silver and metallic it is. It is beautiful. And then of course you have the Laura Lee Los Angeles logo. And then when you open up the palette, you do get one of these little inserts, which I do have to just say, this particular insert is like a really nice quality plastic insert. It's not one of those like cheap, really thin like inserts. This one is like really nice, thick material, so I'm definitely probably going to hold on to this. I feel like it would actually really help to protect the eyeshadows and protect the mirror in the palette. But when you open up the palette, this is what it looks like. Now I do have to go ahead and mention the obvious elephant in the room, the fact that I have two of the same shade right here. When I opened up my palette, I noticed that I immediately noticed that I had two oddball shadows in my eyeshadow palette, which happens when you're producing a large quantity of something. It's inevitable that mistakes will be made at some point because you're trusting equipment to create, you know, a product, and sometimes there's going to be a couple that are defective. Now I wish that this could have been caught before it made it to my house but yeah, so I'm kind of dealing with that situation, which is really unfortunate because it had one of the shades, Redonkulous, which, I mean, I wanted all the shades, obviously, but I really wanted to try out Redonkulous, which is like a really beautiful bronzy copper shade. So that was a little bit disappointing, but I will insert a picture for you guys throughout the video of what the palette is actually supposed to look like. as I'm creating my eyeshadow look and all of that. But this is what I got in the mail. So this is what the shadows look like, and then it also has a mirror as well, and then it has that same flower type pattern on the inside of the palette that you get on the actual box packaging. So this palette does retail for $40, and you do get obviously a mix of matte shimmer and like shimmery satin shades on the inside. You get 10 shades, and honestly I really think that the layout of the shades and the colors that she chose are really great for both everyday and also if you want to amp up your look and kind of create something a little bit different. I know that you could probably say that you have similar shades like this in your collection, but to be honest, if you are a beginner or, you know, most people don't have like huge makeup collections like YouTubers do or people that are makeup collectors do. So if you are someone that doesn't have a ton of eyeshadow palettes and you are thinking about spending your hard-earned money on a palette and it's $40, I think this is a very well-rounded eyeshadow palette that I would be willing to spend my money on because you've got some good transition shades, you've got some good like purples and pinks in here if you want to do something a little bit different. You've got your basic gold shade, you've got a matte kind of lighter shade, you've got a black, which is a necessity. And overall, I do think that the shades that she chose go together really well and blend together really well, which you guys will see in the tutorial. So speaking of which, I think that that is pretty much all that I want to share with you guys as far as the details and whatnot on the palette. So let's go ahead and jump into the tutorial of how to create this eye look, and then I'll share with you guys at the end my final thoughts on the palette after I show you guys how to get this look. Alright, so I have already primed my eyes. I use my regular eyeshadow base, this MAC paint pot in the shade Laying Low, and I just set it with a regular eyeshadow. Any eyeshadow that you have is fine that is close to your skin tone. And I did go ahead and put some tape on the sides of my eyes so that I can get a nice crisp, sharp line. If you watch my videos, you guys know I love to do that trick. So I have my palette right here. And I think I have somewhat of an idea of what I want to do, but I'm just going to kind of just play around with the colors and just figure out, you know, we'll see how it comes together. I don't really have a plan. I have a couple of ideas, like I said, of some shades that I want to use, but we're just gonna jump right into it. As I mentioned in the intro, my palette did come with 2 black shades, which is a little bit disappointing because I really wanted to use the shade Redonkulous, but it's all good. Hopefully I will be able to resolve that with the brand and get another eyeshadow palette sent out. But yeah, in the meantime, the show must go on. So first up, I think I'm going to jump into the shade Bomb Diggity. And I'm going to be using this Sedona Lace EB number 13 brush. And I'm just going to dip right into that shadow. And I noticed dipping into it, if you guys can see, there's a little bit of kick up there with the shadow, which isn't, you know, it's not too much of a problem as long as the shadow blends out nice and smooth. Hopefully, you know, I don't mind a little bit of kick up. So we're going to go in with this brush and just buff that back and forth into the crease area as our transition shade. Okay, so that blended out really nice and smooth on my eyelid, so I'm very satisfied with the way that color blended out. So next up, I'm going to go in with the shade Cray Cray just to kind of deepen up the crease a little bit. I'm using the exact same brush, and I'm just going to dip right into that shadow and apply it just a little bit lower than where I applied the first transition shade. Okay, so next up I'm going to go in with a little bit more of a tapered blending brush. This is the Morphe E22, and I'm going to pick up the shade Kooky, and I'm going to apply that on the outer V and blend it a little bit into the crease. Okay, so this is how we're looking so far. I think I want to deepen up this outer V just a little bit more. So I'm going to go in with the shade, I think I'm going to take out the other, and I'm just going to use that to deepen up the outer V. Okay, so next up I'm going to go in with the shade Scatterbrain. Again, I'm kind of disappointed that I don't have Redonkulous because that is really like where I see this look with like that bronzy coppery shade on the lid. But we're just gonna keep it moving. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the shade Scatterbrain, which is a really beautiful gold shimmer shadow, and I'm just gonna apply that all over my lid. Okay, so I'm very impressed with the pigment of this shadow. I thought that I was gonna have to add some Fix Plus to make it show up, but as you can see, it looks really nice. But still, just so that you guys can see the difference, I'm going to go ahead and spritz my brush with a little bit of Fix Plus. Yeah, so you guys can see, it just makes it a little bit more intense, a little bit more shimmer happening when you add a little bit of Fix Plus, but the color is gorgeous. I'm also noticing that there's a little bit more fallout on my face with the shimmer shadows. The matte shadows have a little bit of fallout or kick up in the actual palette, but when I was applying it to my face, I didn't have any fallout on my actual face. Whereas with this particular shimmer shadow, it is kind of dropping down onto my face a little bit, which isn't a big deal because you guys know I always do my eyeshadow first before I do my my face makeup. But just wanted to mention to you guys that there is, ooh, look at that. Listen, I'm here for the pigment, okay? But yeah, I just wanted to mention to you guys that, you know, there may be a little bit of fallout with the shimmer shadows, so you may want to be aware of that when you're applying them to your eyelid. Okay, so this is what we're looking like so far on the eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and add some liner and lashes and do my face makeup, and then I'll be right back to finish up the lower lash line and give you guys my final thoughts on the palette. Alright guys, so the rest of my face is on, so you can kind of start to see the look starting to come together here. So we're going to finish up the lower lash line, and I'm going to start off, basically I'm going to do the same thing that I did in my crease, except now I'm just going to do it on my bottom lash line. I'm going to start off with the Morphe E18 brush, and I'm going to pick up the shade Bomb Diggity, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply that into my lower lash line as like our first kind of transition shade on the lower lash line. Alright, so next up, right on top of that, I'm going to go in with Cray Cray, and I'm going to apply this mostly focusing it on the outer portion of my lower lash line and bringing it about halfway in, but I'm not going to bring it all the way into the inner corner. So next up, I'm going to go in with this ColourPop cream gel liner in the shade Swerve. It's basically just a black liner, and I'm going to apply that into my waterline. And then next up, since I have two oddballs, I might as well use one of them. So I'm going to go ahead in with that shade, and I'm going to use my Morphe M508 brush, and I'm going to use it to kind of buff and blend out that liner into my lower lashes. And then I'm also going to pick up a little bit of Out the Other on this little small Morphe E36 brush, and I'm just going to buff that right underneath the black. Okay, so last but not least, I'm going to mix the shades Scatterbrain and Okie Dokie and apply them to my inner corner. Alright guys, so this is the finished look, and I do have to say I am very pleased with the way that it came out. So let's go ahead and jump into my final thoughts about this palette. So first and foremost, the packaging slays. I am definitely a sucker for packaging, you guys already know that. So I love the way that they decided to package this palette and the fact that I match it right now. Just a little side note, it matches my shirt. But yeah, I do really love the way that she decided to package this palette. I think it's absolutely stunning. And I do also love the way that she decided to have the flowers on the inside, the mirror on the inside, and also the layout of the colors on the inside of the palette. Now I will mention that the matte shadows, which I did kind of mention as I was doing my eyeshadow look. The matte shadows did have quite a bit of kick up or fallout. However, when I was applying them to my lid, I didn't have any fallout on my actual face from my brush. Whereas with the shade Scatterbrain, when I applied it to my lid, there was quite a bit of fallout and it was kind of just getting all over my face. But when I did spray it with Fix Plus, that did help a lot to both intensify the pigment of the shadow as well as to help it to stick to where I was applying it and keep it from flying all over my entire face. Now, I don't necessarily mind so much that there is a little bit of fallout with the shadows, as long as it's not excessive and as long as it doesn't affect the blendability and the pigment of the eyeshadows, which in this case it did not. The only thing that I would mention is with the shimmer, or at least that particular shimmer shadow, Scatterbrain, that I used on my lid today, you may want to consider, if you're going to use that shadow, just going in with Fix Plus right off the bat, or with maybe using your finger. I didn't try that. It may have applied a little bit better as far as not getting all over the place if I had used my finger. Or just don't have your foundation on, just do your eyes first and then come in afterwards and do your face makeup and you should be fine. Now, I did notice when I went in without the other on my outer V, which is also a shimmer shadow, I didn't have nearly as much fallout or like issue with it getting all over my face. So I don't know, it may just be because that gold shadow is supposed to be a little bit more of a like super metallic shade. Maybe that's why there was a little bit more fallout with that color. But I did notice when I used out the other, which is also a kind of more satin shimmer, I didn't really have any fallout at all. So overall, my opinion on this palette, I give it a thumbs up for sure, with the exception, of course, of having two oddballs in my palette, but that is not a slight to the brand as a whole. They packaged or created, I'm sure, thousands of these, and I'm sure it wasn't an individual sitting and putting each of these shadows in there. Machines make mistakes, equipment makes mistakes, so I'm sure this was just an honest mistake that wasn't any one person's fault, and I hope that I'm able to resolve that with the company. When I did reach out to them, they responded to me very quickly when I let them know that there was an error with my palette. So hopefully I'll keep you guys up to date on the resolution of that. But yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get it corrected and I'll be able to get a new palette sent out to me. But besides that, I am very pleased with my experience and with the way that the look came out, the way that the shadows performed, and I would highly recommend picking it up if you are on the fence about it. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all that I have to share with you guys about this palette. Be sure to check down below for the link to enter the giveaway. I will have that link at the top of my description box, as well as the link to head over to Jasmine's channel and check out her video as well, her thoughts and her review on the palette. She is slightly deeper in skin tone than me, not a whole lot, but slightly deeper, and she did go in with a lot more of the pinks and purples for her look, so you'll be able to kind of see how those shadows performed in the makeup look that she created on her channel. So that is all that I have for you guys for today's video. If you're visiting from Jasmine's channel, thanks so much for checking out this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you're new to my channel in general, thanks for clicking on this video and for checking it out. I hope that you also found it helpful. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel as well and become part of the Fayy fam. So yeah, that is going to bring us to the end of this video. Thank you guys so much again for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon in my next one. Bye.